Welcome back. We're so happy to have you with us because we have a fabulous guest for you today. Her name is Delia Price, and Delia is one of the leading watercolor artists in the Las Vegas area, and you're just going to love some of her work that we have to show you. Welcome, Delia.
Thank you. It's so good to be here.
Thank you.
So tell us a little bit how you got started with watercolors.
Well, I didn't really draw as a child.
Okay.
So I went to an art fair and I saw Ed Klein's watercolors in his booth, and there was a little flyer out front and it said, watercolor lessons Tuesday morning. So I picked it up and I went to his class, and I was just amazed. He enabled me to paint, and I'd never really tried it before. So he showed me a painting and he said, here, hold the brush. He says, well, you're holding it, okay. And I didn't know how else to hold it, right.
Yeah.
And then he said, just find one shape at a time on the picture and put it on your page. And I did, and voila, in maybe a half hour, I had drawn this hacienda.
That's amazing.
I amazed myself.
One shape at a time.
One shape at a time. Keep adding another shape to what you're drawing. And then all I had to do was paint it.
Yes. That's awesome. So did you feel like you had a natural ability to decipher shapes and sizes as you were going through it?
Well, probably.
Yeah.
Because I tend to observe things, so I was able to observe the different shapes, and I was able to do it. I've done other kinds of artistic things. I've made stained glass windows and thrown pots on a potter's wheel and that kind of thing.
Cool.
I've done calligraphy, so I probably have good control, hand-eye control.
That's good.
But I had never tried really to draw.
That's really neat.
Yeah, and some people can't see the shapes.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Some people have a lot of difficulty seeing the shapes, so it's amazing that you can see them right away and do them like you do.
Really?
Let's take a look at some of your work. Let's take a look at the owl. That owl is my favorite. Let's talk about that one.
Yeah.
That's Who.
That's the name of it, Who.
Yes. Well, I love to do animals. I'm challenged to do all the feathers on the owl. It takes a certain patience and technique to make them look like feathers.
Right.
And I always admire other artists' work when they do dogs or owls or animals. Especially in watercolor, they can sort of blend the paint, and it still looks like the animal still looks like they have fur and all. I haven't figured out how to do that. I have to make all the hair on
one
the
at a
animal
time
look like it is.
Yeah.
Well, I use I'm not even sure what the name of the brush is because I've not studied art. I'm just doing it by the seat of my pants. But it's a wedge.
Oh, right. Okay.
Cut on the wedge.
Triangle.
It's called a dagger brush.
Oh, okay.
The art teacher
But there's
in me.
actually a little triangle one too. I know the dagger one, but there's actually a triangle
Oh,
one.
yeah, there
Have you
is.
seen those? Yeah, so maybe it's one of those.
Excuse
Who
me.
knows?
I'll butt out.
No.
But it's a little stiffer,
Yeah.
so I can get a little bit of paint on it until it's almost dry, and then do the feathers.
Right, right.
So,
now, what made you choose to do the owl so close up? Because you didn't do the whole owl; you just did the face, and it was so powerful.
I'm all about the eyes. I love to draw faces, and I like to capture the expression in the eyes. So that's what I'm striving to do. And the owl looks at me as I walk around the room.
That's awesome.
So that's particularly fun. I also had a girlfriend who recently passed away, but the expression on her face, her eyebrows were raised up, and she just had this wide open look, just like the owl. So every time I see this owl, I think of my friend.
Well, that's kind of neat that you've got that kind of remembrance.
A connection.
Yeah, that's
Let's
fantastic.
look at the ones that you did that look kind of like they're underwater. There's one with turtles, and there's another fish that are just amazing.
Oh, thank you. Yes, well, the turtles, they were kind of fun to do because the turtles themselves are done with a dry technique so that I could get the shell and all the shapes and the colors on them. But then the background, the water they're in, I wanted it to be multicolored. I just wanted it to just be a burst of color. but it's done with a lot of water.
Yes.
So the trick was not washing my turtles off the page.
Oh yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, when you went back and put the water on. So you put the turtles on before you put the background.
That's
did.
amazing.
That is amazing.
That's interesting.
Yes.
So how much do you ever use like Frisket and pencil work with your paintings, or do you just, it's 100% what it is?
Well, I sketch out,
Right.
like a sketch to the turtles. But I pretty much only sketch it because I can't really draw. I never took drawing lessons. So mostly I just sketch it. Even the faces, I just kind of outline them and put a little bit of
Hint
shape.
of where things are.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then I paint the details of it.
And the
All right.
fish? What about the fish?
Oh, the fish is interesting. I went to a hospital to visit somebody, and they had a tank, an aquarium,
Right.
out in the lobby, and I took the picture because the lionfish is just transparent. Well, I wanted to draw it, but I couldn't figure out how to draw a transparent fish.
That would be a bit hard.
That is an interesting challenge.
So on that one, I did the background first,
Okay.
and this fish is painted on Yupo. I call it Yupo paper, but it's not paper. It's 100% polypropylene. It's
Yes,
plastic.
yes, yes. And the paint really moves on there.
It does move a lot because watercolor doesn't stick on plastic.
How long does
No.
it take to dry on that?
Oh, really only a few minutes.
Okay,
Because,
all right.
you know, you're not painting with too much water. I mean,
Right, so it's not like it's a puddle. And,
No.
Okay.
But the paint does puddle in the background. But I
Oh.
wanted it to look like all the rocks in the bottom of the aquarium.
Yeah.
So I painted the background first, and then I took a damp brush and pulled the color off of the plastic because
Neat.
you just can wipe it off, right? So
Yeah.
I pulled the lionfish out of the background.
So you didn't need the Frisket, you could just wipe it off, so to speak.
That's
Yes.
amazing.
neat.
That
Yes.
really is amazing.
Fun technique.
Yeah.
So that's what the Yupo paper,
Right.
you can get all kinds of other techniques that you can't really do on paper.
Regular
paper.
watercolor
Right.
paper.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then you have something totally different, is your dog.
Oh, the dog was my girlfriend's, and she would train, what do you call them now?
Service dogs?
Service dogs,
Yeah.
yes. So that was a puppy, but she was training it to be a service dog. And I just found the picture of it and painted it. I wanted to have it be more than just simply realistic. So I wanted to add some color on it, and I hadn't done that before.
Oh.
So this was my first attempt at adding a little color to the animal. And
Well, he's beautiful.
He
Well,
is, he's
thank you.
gorgeous, and for
Yeah.
dog lovers, you know.
his name is Tag.
Tag.
That's
That's
a
great.
cool name. Now you also do some floral things, some flowers and arrangements
Yes.
as well.
The floral rhapsody that I did is kind of fun. It's on Yupo also.
Oh, it is? Okay.
So I didn't really put a background on it. I just did the vase and the flowers. And like you mentioned before, you can kind of move the paint around on the plastic. So I was having fun doing that, and I got my flowers on there, and I looked, and I realized I saw a little face in one of the flowers.
Interesting.
So I decided to put faces in about 5 of the flowers. I
That's
call them my
fun.
fairy faces.
Your
Oh,
fairy
that's
faces,
really
I
cute.
love it.
That's
I love
awesome.
it.
And it's fun that your imagination took you there,
Yes.
right? And then
Yes.
instead of just going, oh, cute faces, you actually went there
Uh-huh.
and challenged yourself to put the faces in.
Yes, but they're not real obvious. So you
You kind of have to look
You
for
have to
them.
look for it.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
look for them, and I enjoy hiding images in some of my
Oh,
paintings.
that's so Bev Doolittle.
I have a library that I painted. It was when the hills were burning in Pasadena, California, and that's where I'm from. And so the library and the Hollywood Bowl, you can see those items in my picture. And then in the back room, you see pictures, just shapes of people coming and going from the library. I think there's 8 people in the picture. And unless I tell people, they might
miss
see
it.
3.
Oh,
but that's
interesting.
about it.
Yeah,
That's
a lot
cool.
of people wouldn't think to look for other things within the picture,
No.
and that's one of the things that makes your artwork very unique.
Yes.
Very unique. Now you have quite the background. You've also been a singer And so you're artistic in many ways.
Right. I'm really more of a musician than a painter, in that I retired, and that's when I started painting. But prior to that, I really hadn't done any painting at all.
Well, and I remember the story of what, the motorcycle?
Race cars.
Oh, the
Race car. Oh my
Yeah.
Gosh, which just cracks me up. I love this story.
Well, when I was married in the 70s, my husband had a Lotus Elan, one of the old ones, and it was a right-hand drive. So you shift with your left hand, right? Can you shift with your left hand? I'm right-handed, so this was a challenge. But your feet aren't the opposite. Your feet are the same as they are over here, over here. It's just the
In
shifting.
the British racing cars. Yeah.
So half your brain has to work opposite over here, you know, and not over here. So it's very confusing to drive the right-hand drive. But we used to race the car on all the little racetracks that were in Southern California, and finally
That's so
quit racing
fun.
when my son was 2 years old.
Yeah, and when I look at you, I just don't see a race
no,
car
and
driver.
I mean, I just think badass.
Can I say that?
Oh, I guess you can.
Yeah.
It just came out of your
Badass,
mouth.
but it's so cute because you just don't look like a badass. It's really fun.
I look a little different with the helmet on.
Yeah, no, the painter I get. So since you've started painting, about how many pictures have you done, and about how many have you sold?
She sells almost everything.
I know it.
Well,
That's what I want to know.
I've painted pushing 200.
Wow.
And it's been, I started painting May 15th, 2013. I remember
Wow.
distinctly, that was the date I went to this class. And I've probably sold, oh my gosh, 60 or 70. I mean, I've sold lots of them, and I've
Yeah.
done a lot of commission work.
Yes.
And then reproductions as well. So
Right, right.
amazing.
Yes, and then I you know, donate some to philanthropic
Yes, various
causes.
charities and
fantastic.
things,
Yes,
yeah, to
that's
raise money for events. Well, it's absolutely been wonderful having you on the show today. Why don't you tell our viewers where they can get in touch with you, where they can see your art, and how they could buy some of it?
Commission you for
Commission you.
Their
for-
dog portraits?
Yeah, well, and for people portraits. She
And
does
people
beautiful
portraits?
people portraits.
Exactly.
Thank you. Well, I can be reached at highprice@gmail.com. That's my email, HYPrice, that is. And also I have a website at www.deliapriceart.com. And you can see all of my paintings there. But mostly where I post my paintings is on Facebook. And I have an album on my Facebook called Watercolor. And all my paintings are just right out there boldly for the public to see. I'm not too shy about publishing all
Badass.
my paintings.
Well, you shouldn't be, because they're absolutely
gorgeous.
beautiful, and I know
Yeah.
that
Thank you.
that people really, really enjoy your paintings. I know I do, and you've done calendars and what do you call them? Those little books that you've done. I mean, beautiful
Yes.
things. So I
Very
highly
creative.
recommend that our viewers go to your website and look at some of your work.
and to Facebook.
It's very
Great,
good.
thank you.
Yes,
Thank you for
so
being
much.
here, and we'll be right back.